just happened organically. I knew where I wanted to ultimately get him. I wanted him to be Big Poppa. You know, he was calling himself Big Poppa, but I wanted him to look like a Big Poppa.
Biggie Smalls was the illest. He told us that, and it was true. Big had a top-notch flow, a booming voice, and lyrics drenched in authenticity and humor. The all-time great MC born Christopher Wallace said it was all a dream, and then he took us on a ride from his time as a stressed-out kid in the streets of Bed-Stuy to when he made that dream a reality by becoming one of the biggest stars on the planet. And he did it all through sheer force of will and talent. As metamorphic as Big's life was, his iconic style shape-shifted too. Heads watched Biggie's fashion transformation play out in real time. In just 5 short years, the Notorious B.I.G. went from wearing bandanas and t-shirts to rocking tailored suits and silk shirts. As Biggie himself said on Sky's the Limit, his style went from ashy to classy. And it turns out that was by design. Behind the music videos, the Source magazine covers, and the unforgettable red carpet looks were 2 people who helped transform Biggie Smalls into Big Poppa. One husband and wife team helped turn a man who described himself as far from handsome and who sold fake logos on his clothes as a kid into an international sex symbol whose fashion influence was generational. This is the story of how those 2 people helped take Biggie from ashy to classy. Taking Biggie from ashy to classy.
Okay.
Like her words, right? Phenomenal. And everyone knows that line. Everyone knows the impact. Everyone has heard it in his head, but no one has actually seen it or heard the story of how that journey began.
Okay.
So I would love to hear from you all how you took Biggie from ashy to classy.
Okay.
So first, let me get your names, full names.
All right. I'm Guy Wood.
Guy Wood. And Guy,
Yes.
Guy, what do you do?
I am the designer and owner of 5001 Flavors.
5001 Flavors.
Yes.
Okay.
And I am Shay Wood, President and CEO of 5001 Flavors.
President, CEO. And you guys have been in business for 30 years?
30
Yes,
years.
we just celebrated our 30th year in business, 1992.
Phenomenal. Congratulations. That's amazing. I'm Reggie, by the way.
Yes.
Pleasure.
Founder and CEO of Ambrosia for
Yes.
Heads. We are a platform that celebrates hip-hop from 1978 to the present.
Okay.
Reach 15 million people across our site and socials. You know, really targeted to people 25 and older. So just to give you a little context.
Okay.
So we were talking, and you give me the history of the company, and you've worked with artists such as...
Oh gosh, Biggie Smalls, Heavy D, Puff Daddy, Mary J. Blige,
Pun, Tupac,
DJ Khaled.
No Limit,
Swiss Beats,
Swiss Beats,
DMX,
Justin Locks, Justin Combs, everybody.
And then if you want to go into other celebrities, not musicians, LeBron James, we definitely do a lot of artists and entertainers and athletes.
Right. Okay. So we were talking about Biggie, and you used a line that you were there with Biggie from the time he went from ashy to classy.
Yes.
Can you describe to me what Biggie was like, what his fashion was like before you guys met?
Yeah, Biggie was, he was rough around the edges when we first met.
Okay.
You know.
What does that look like?
T-shirt, baggy jeans, and a pair of scuffed up Timbs.
Right.
You
Gotcha.
know, but that's a no-no in the hip-hop world.
Yeah,
You wear
yeah.
the Timberlands one time.
Right. Right.
So, but the beautiful thing of it, he was a student. He would listen. He was a blank canvas.
Okay.
So Puff would come in and interject, yo, I want him to be the biggest this, that. I want him to look like this.
Yeah.
So I said, I'm listening to the lyrics. I said, Big, you're talking a lot of stuff on these lyrics. He said, yeah. I said, no, we have to match. The look has to match what you're saying. So if you're talking about my Detroit players wearing pink gaiters, we got to get some pink gaiters.
Okay.
You understand me?
Yeah.
We got to get Versace-ish shirts.
Right.
Print fabrics. We got to take it to the next level.
Right.
He's not scared of color. He cleaned up well.
Yeah.
So that was the beauty of it. So if you notice in the first video, Juicy, he lied about his sizing. He said, oh, I'm a 2X and I'm a 38 pant.
Right.
So when I bring the clothes, nothing is really fitting properly. I said,
Right.
Big, you cannot lie. And back then, everything was
Wait,
baggy.
too tight?
It was too tight.
it was-
Okay.
If you
Gotcha.
when you show the video,
He had the slim fit. He was
got
ahead of his
Yeah,
time.
oh, he was super ahead of his time.
Gotcha.
He had the slim fit.
Yeah.
So he said, "Okay, I understand. I'll let you measure me, and we'll move forward from here." So from that point on, he trusted me, and we was able to do our thing. So whatever you saw him from Juicy to Hypnotize was all us.
Right.
I said he wasn't scared to wear suits. He wasn't scared to wear colors. Even when he did his own dates, where it wasn't just video clothes. He would invest his money in himself and stay fly.
Right.
And what I loved about him is all his team members, he would get them fly too. Get them gators. Get them a silk shirt. Get them, you know what I'm saying? Little C's and Moneyel and all these guys that were behind him, people that's on stage with him, he took care of them.
Right.
So and everything was a process. I would go locate the shoes. These are the colors that they have in your size.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So then let's go with these 3 looks, and then hold those other 3 colors for next week or 2 weeks. So we'll do that. And so it was a process.
Yeah.
But what I loved about him, he knew, just like Hov, they know what the pulse of the people.
Right.
When he says throw your Rolex in the sky and wave them from side to side, everybody had to have a Rolex.
Right.
So every guy ran and got a Rolex.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Every girl ran and got a Rolex. When he had Coogee, down to the socks, we had to get Coogee socks.
Right.
So the whole point was, be real. Whatever you saying, let's create this picture. And that's what it was. It was many vignettes, many movies.
Yeah. So you said in the beginning it was Versace-ish.
Yeah.
What were the budgets like in the beginning, and how did you see those grow?
Well, the budgets were always small. I mean, in the very beginning, they were small. Then they got super big. But I mean, it was.
Were you sewing alligators on the shirts, or wasn't that small?
Nah, we wasn't doing that small. But I mean, it was like maybe the first budget might have been $1,500 for 3 looks. Yeah. That's small. That's $500 a look.
Yeah.
And Versace wasn't making clothes for him.
For him.
So even
That
though he was
size.
shouting Versace, it was Versace print.
Right.
It was a look that we would make for him and Puff for the video to coordinate with it.
The only thing Versace was the glasses.
Yeah.
But the good thing was, it wasn't really about the money. Like, it was like we were making history every week, and it was just beautiful.
Did you know that at the time?
Nah, you didn't, because you were just caught up in the moments. You know what I'm saying? You never really know. Sometimes you're not even privy to the meetings. It's just like, okay, God, we need this look, we need that look, we need this look. We need a dress look, we need this look, we need a casual denim look. So even a jean suit we would make for him, a flannel shirt we would make for him. He didn't want anything. He called it racketeering. He didn't want nothing off the rack. He wanted to have all his stuff custom.
Because he was Big Poppa.
Yeah.
So the goal is to look different. I mean, it's to look the same but better and elevated.
Now, did you have a progression in your mind, or did it happen organically?
It just happened organically. I knew where I wanted to ultimately get him.
Yeah.
But
Which was where?
I wanted him to be Big Poppa.
Okay.
He was calling himself Big Poppa. But I wanted him to look like a Big Poppa.
And what's a Big Poppa to you?
A Big Poppa was just a guy that's clean. Like, every time you see him, he's clean. It doesn't even matter the size of the person.
Right.
It's the fact that he's clean. He has the matching belt to go with his shoe. He had the shirt tucked in. He had the watch on and a couple of rings. And his Jesus piece. That's all he needed. And what he was talking was so he was making movies, with his rhymes. You could sit back and just and visualize it. So I just had to dress the character that was making this, I was dressed in Scarface or whoever.
Also, there was an elevation for him from boy to a man, because he was like 20, and then ultimately he was becoming more of a business person. He was a dad, and so his look to me totally changed. I loved when he was monochromatic and like had that baby blue with the cap on and the suede jacket. I would have never thought that he would pick colors like that, but he started to want to be seen, and he said a lot. I wasn't seeing a lot, big, black, and ugly, and I used to always laugh at that. And so I'm like, but now he's emphasizing his whole body. me. And so as you guys started to change and he started to wear suits more, he loved suits and hats, and then he was in control. That was his business person, his Frank White persona. And so it did evolve organically, and I don't even think he knew how, even to this day, how impressive those looks are today.
Right. You said he was a dad. Was he actually bringing his child into the shoots?
At that point, yeah, he would bring him to the shoots, but we would sit and talk.
Yeah.
We would talk. Me and him would talk about life, and we would talk about goals and things that he had planned. And he was a friend, so it was more. It wasn't like a business deal.
Yeah.
It was more like he's a friend, and he's telling me, "Yo, guy, this is what I'm gonna be in 2 years, or this is how I want to be in 5 years, or this is what I need to do." You know what I'm saying? What can I? You see what they doing, guy? I need something like that. What's my dress down look?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we would just always be thinking. I see ideas, and I would shoot them by him and tell him, "This is what I'm thinking. This is what I feel."
Yeah.
And what's so beautiful with Biggie, I have that relationship with a few other guys too, because my clients they trust me.
Yeah.
So it's like I put you in something that you feel comfortable. That's not my vision.
Right.
It's our vision together. So it's hard to beat that. When I could bring your likeness or with your idea to fruition.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like you tell your lady or somebody, this is what I want for dinner. And then they make that exact dish, and you're like, wow, this is how my grandmother used to make it. Or, you know, something, it means something to you. And that's what I love about the one-on-one, the bespoke of it.
Right.
Like, I can't think for the masses.
Yeah.
Because I like to think for one person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And if the masses love it, then that's great.
That's great. But be true to that person.
Yeah, be true to that person. That's all I'm here. I'm here for you.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, if they love it, then guess what? I did my job, and now I'm moving on to the next project. I can't even look back over my shoulder and say, whoa, what I did Sunday on the Grammys was great. Yeah, that was great, but I got to do something this week.
Yeah.
And I got to do something next week. And I got a tour coming up that I got to always have concepts and ideas.
Right.
So I don't get a chance to sit back and just smoke a cigar and talk about how great I am.
Right.
And then, like you said, you don't realize it's history. For us, it was a job. It was completing a job so we can get a check. But then I think ultimately I started to realize, we're making history. Like, these images become part of a historical time, and you can hear music when you look at the picture.
Right.
It becomes a billboard. It becomes something that's culturally important and relevant in a museum. And so then it hit me that so we're not just making checks, we're making history.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of these young people started. It's like, I'm gonna do this so that in 50 years they're gonna talk.
Right. Yeah.
People are trying to survive, trying to express themselves, trying to start brands, trying to get some paper. And so when I look back at it, I'm like, wow, I didn't really realize that what we were doing was really changing the world. So we started out as urban, and now we're completely mainstream.
Now we define the mainstream.
Yes.
So you talk about those iconic images. What are a few that you all can remember that people would know from Biggie that you all did?
What was that? The
Cover
of the Source. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, with that
every
one
album
piece.
cover.
Yeah, that one piece gas station suit and leather.
Oh, wow.
That was just iconic because it had our logo on it. Plus, he had arrived at that point.
Right.
And then the Source was like the Bible of hip hop.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it was like being on Vogue.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, for us.
Right.
Now we done did Met Gala. We in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with outfits, Smithsonian.
Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah, so we've done a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But the one that means the most to me is Big's career. It's just because I was there from day one. I didn't latch on at the end. I didn't,
Right.
And we've done that with a lot of people, but
Right.
he was just the one. We
You
still
told
bop
me-
to his music now.
And you told me that he lays and rests in your outfit.
Oh yeah. That was the hardest thing ever.
Yeah.
To make an outfit that you have to, and we've done that for a few clients.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest. That's the hardest
and
thing.
I
When you're
always
picking
tell
fabric for somebody that this is their last. It's the last time.
But I always tell the stories because we didn't make it for his funeral. He ordered it before he died.
Yeah, that
2 weeks prior, he ordered a bunch of stuff. He said, I need a white suit. And I was like, all right. It didn't make any sense because he had a white suit from Hypnotized, but he didn't know what buttons he wanted. And so it sat there. And unfortunately, he passed away, and Faye called and said, I need a white suit for Big. And it was already made because he had ordered it. That was his last order. And so it was predestined. I don't want to think that. But the fact that he ordered that made no sense to me then. And he was like, I'm going to need it in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And he needed it. So, yeah. I didn't know I was going to talk
That's
about
what
that
I'm saying,
today.
like,
Yeah. Well,
it's crazy, man. I mean, that was hard. That pun was hard. Nipsey was hard. It's like these guys, even the Tupac. It was just like, you know what I'm saying? I know these guys,
yeah.
and it's like, okay, y'all, you're not agreeing right now, but I know you as a man. I know you. He don't want you to die, and he don't want him to die over this. This is wrestling. This is what I always tell him. This is wrestling, B. Y'all picking characters.
Yeah.
Don't get caught up in this. Al Pacino is not.
Right.
He's you know
not real.
He's not real. Like that's the only thing with us. We get caught up in these characters, and we have to become who we think we are.
Yeah.
Nah, you don't have to. That was a role. Push that back, and the next character, you might be something else. You might be a dad. You might be a pastor. You might be a pilot in the next movie or the next video.
Yeah.
That's how I look at life.
Yeah.
I don't sit back and glorify the stuff I've done.
Yeah.
I keep looking for the next job or the next project, because at the end of the day, that's done already. That's history.
Absolutely.
You can't keep looking back over your shoulders. I looked at some of this stuff and then remember I made it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I've done so much stuff.
Yeah.
And that's not to be bragging. I try to tell that to the young designers that I have around me. Don't get caught up on what you did last week. Don't worry that they copying what you did last week.
Yeah.
You got to do something new.
Absolutely.
You can't keep talking about a bubble vest that we did 32 years ago. Like, that's,
Well, sometimes when I bring that stuff out the archive, it is fascinating.
Yeah.
Like, people were like, oh, y'all made that?
yeah,
I remember that. Like,
Yeah.
Above the Rim, Tupac.
Yeah.
You know, when he had the red
Crazy.
leopard
Jersey.
baseball, we made that. And so if I sit down and start to really think about, I'm like, I'm impressed,
Right.
you know, because I'm like, wow, because to me, it's just making an outfit, but it's not. It's making stuff that generations will see. And so we're in movies, award show tours, red carpets. And when I started looking at the images, I'm like, wow, my people were out here doing it, like successful, making music, setting trends, motivating markets, making money all over the world, touring.
Right.
Like, I love to look back because I feel like our success is our client's success. And so we go from obscurity to fame with all of our clients. I'm like, wow, okay, we went along for that ride, because once people have a look, you become part of their brand because they need that look to continue. Right. And so that is what we have done.
So here we are celebrating 50 years of hip-hop history. You all are a part of 30 of that 50 years significantly, and have lived through it. What do you want your legacy to be remembered as when all is said and done?
Person that just loved fashion, loved hip-hop, loved the culture, and always wanted to give people quality looks.
And so for me, it's more of a business legacy. We started with 5,001 flavors. We also have a retail store in Harlem Haberdashery. We just celebrated 10 years in business. We have expanded from that to HH Bespoke Spirits and Beverages. We have a rum, gin, vodka, and the alkaline water. So for us, it's about brand evolution. It's about building business legacy. It's about motivating generational wealth in our family and doing something different. And for me, that's what hip-hop is. And I don't think even hip-hop understood how much it could motivate the markets of the world. And so when we talk about like Jay-Z and Puff, we're talking about multi-industry moguls. And so for us, that's the legacy that I want to leave, is business legacy.
Amazing.